Hello, this is Jacob and Matt here today with Small Business Chat, coming at you with another podcast. Today it's actually Valentine's Day themed since tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I got some Valentine's Day questions for myself and Matt as well. Thank you, Matt, for putting on the hearts. Uh,
Forgot about it. Well, it's also Mardi Gras, around here.
Mardi
So
Gras,
we got our beads. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Matt, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. How you doing, man? You got all your Valentine's Day shopping done?
No shopping, more so we're just gonna have a really nice dinner, Matt. Keep it on the low key, but I'm actually taking my wife to Chef's Palate for Valentine's Day. So
I've heard of that place.
yeah, I think you might have been there once or twice, I think, right?
When the bartenders shout your name out, when you walk in the place. Yeah. That's
exactly.
I've been there once or twiise. That's cool. That'll be a nice dinner. I promise I won't show up.
Awesome. Okay. Where are you taking Catalina?
Oh, okay. So we're so I chartered a plane, and we're gonna leave, tomorrow around noon. We get into Vegas, and then we have a helicopter taking us to the rim of the Grand Canyon, and we should be there. And it's white table, all that sort of stuff, bottle of champagne, and right as the sun sets over the Grand Canyon, it'll be the perfect Valentine. I'm just kidding. I got roses for her.
You got roses.
She's in Charlotte. I'm here, so
Gotcha.
But hey,
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, I hope everyone watching right now is going to have a great Valentine's Day tomorrow. All the best wishes. Matt, let's just cut right to the chase. How disappointing was the Chiefs winning for the Super Bowl, man? What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I didn't know you were going to go there. I like both teams. I don't like either team really. But I don't have anything against anyone, so to speak. Neither one's, they're not the teams I'm pulling for. It's not like the Dolphins or something like that. And it's somewhat cool to watch, Mahomes do his thing and Kelsey, because they got nothing against them. Good for them. Feel for San Francisco?
Yeah, San Francisco 49ers, unfortunately. I was really wanting just Brock Purdy to win because he's just Mr. Irrelevant. So
man deserves to get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Pay him.
So
big
Matt, just coming at you with some Valentine's Day themed business questions. Let's start off with how to love your business like you love your partner. What advice would you give to give some sweet love to your business like you love your partner?
This is like a PG broadcast, right?
PG broadcast, of course. Oh, as always.
Okay, right. Yeah, because you could. Okay, I got you. Okay, so I think one of the things that people need to understand about business is and a relationship is it's sort of like a plant. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a plant.
Yeah.
The plant, right? Okay, right. Yeah. But anyways, you've got to feed it, you've got to nurture it, and if you do so, it'll grow. But if you ignore it and just don't pay attention to it, it will die. So what do you think? Do you think is that a good analogy?
I think it's a great analogy, going to the whole pouring some water to make it grow. The water could be what could that be exactly, Matt, for business related purposes? What could the water be in this case scenario? Or what
the water in
food?
Yeah, feeding in the plant food. That's your marketing, right? I mean, so you got to feed your business, right? And so you got to be able to, put in, depending on what your actual business is, you have to have a market for your business. If you have an online business, you've got to be able to get leads. You've got to get something for your salespeople to eat on, something for that business to grow. Or if you have more of a, what we see is a lot of clothing businesses, there's got to be a demand for your product. But the feeding part of it, from at least my perspective in this analogy, is you've got to make sure that you're constantly working to have more and more leads, more and more opportunities for the business to actually grow. That's why, we see all the advertisements on television. Coming back to, the Super Bowl, why do you think these people are advertising? They're just not trying to make you laugh, which most of them did not, by the way. Just on an aside, if you're going to spend $10 million on a commercial, bring some ha-ha people in, please. But anyways,
I saw that for the Super Bowl, there was two trailers. You may not have cared about it or not, but Deadpool 3, they were saying so many things about the Deadpool trailer coming out, and they barely showed any of it. I still haven't even watched the full one.
They dug up Hugh Jackman for another Wolverine movie. That was, that's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then, but what was the other one? Deadpool 3 and what?
Deadpool 3, and then the other one escaped me. But it was another trailer that everyone was highly anticipated for that They only showed half the trailer and then said go watch the rest of it later.
This actually is a great good segue.
Yeah.
I got this. Okay. Sorry, you bring something up that's very interesting. I thought the best commercial of the Super Bowl was Ben Affleck with Matt Damon, obviously Jennifer Lopez, Tom Brady. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of the other cameos that were in that thing that I'm probably too old to know. I thought that was the best commercial. But here's my problem with it. I didn't want to go get a donut after the commercial. I thought it was the best commercial. I thought it was funny. It was cute. There are different lines. They humanized those folks. Matt Damon stole the show, dude. Remember I said I'd do anything for you? Yeah, this was anything. That's a great line, man. That's a great line. But I didn't want to buy a donut. Whereas you take it over, like back in the day. Do you remember, did Doritos do a commercial? I don't think Doritos did a commercial this year.
They actually did. I was waiting for that all the time. And it was very small. It was for one of their new products. I can't remember what it was. But it was one of the new Doritos that they just came out. It's like a green and orange bag or something like that. I think it was.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so that was a Doritos type product. Okay. But traditionally, like when I've seen like a Pepsi commercial back in the day when Pepsi advertised, or like Doritos, I actually wanted to go out and get Doritos afterwards. Or like at halftime, I'm like, I'm going to get me a bag of Doritos. With the donuts thing, again, like I thought they did a great commercial. I just thought, when you talk about feeding your business, you could have the world's greatest commercial out there. But if there's not a product association with it that's going to make the consumer go out and get that actual product, like for instance, I think some of the more powerful commercials recently is, He Gets Us, the whole Jesus, not to get religious on everyone, but I actually think they're really great commercials because they're showing, us all basically about, Jesus's message, and that how I think there's a lot of us in society will actually claim that we are living by the good book, but then really, are you really? Because, Jesus was washing feet. He was preaching hate and disdain for others. So I think that's a really good, sorry to say, product association in a religious context, but I think it's a lot stronger than the Dunkin' ones. The Dunkin' Donuts one is, it's Doritos and all that sort of stuff. So maybe the commercial's not obviously funny, but it's good. But it will help feed. I'm assuming either 501(c) or something like that. It'll help feed whatever their business, if it's getting donations or whatnot. Because I think there's a better association than, again, props out to Ben Affleck, J-Lo, and everyone who did that commercial. It just didn't make me want to eat a donut. Maybe they would have had like J-Lo eating a donut. What do you think? Would you want a donut if you thought J-Lo?
I can't say too much about that one. My actual
like a regular donut, nothing weird.
I know. My favorite commercial was actually the different types of birds that were flying around, like the Falcons and then the Ravens and then the Seahawks and the Eagles. Did you see that one? They're all flying. All the football players were flying around. Did you see that?
Yeah, I may have seen that other. What was that? What was that for?
I think it wasn't for Pluto. That was the couch potato one. I think it was just promoting the NFL, I think, if I remember right.
The couch potato thing, awesome concept. I thought it was an awesome concept.
Favorite one. Yeah.
Absolutely no desire to go buy that product whatsoever, though. But again, props out to the marketing agency. They came up with an innovative concept. I just didn't think there was a great product tie-in. I guess what they were trying to say is you become a couch potato when you get Hulu. And
Pluto, yeah.
What is it?
Pluto.
The hell's Pluto? I mean, I know it used to be a planet.
Yeah, it's just one of those other like streaming channels, just like there is Hulu and everything. So
okay, once again, I'm not 100% sure that. I mean, I think that's cute, but I'm like, hey, look, if you buy our service, the implication is you're going to become a couch potato and you're going to look like this. Yeah. I think it's a cute like a commentary, but I'm like, is that really what I want? Like, so like when you see like, okay, go back to J-Lo. When you see like J-Lo as a 50-something-year-old woman looking like she does and basically advertising for exercise equipment, I'm going to buy that exercise equipment because I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna look like J-Lo. Well, I personally wouldn't want to look like J-Lo. Like, not that she's not all together and stuff, but I'm a dude. But anyways, but that's good product association, right? But again, J-Lo's preaching a donut, or Ben Affleck, when I didn't even see either one of them eat a donut.
That's true.
I was like, because I don't think J-Lo probably eats donuts anymore because she's too busy working out and looking good. But anyway,
there has been a couple of commercials where Ben Affleck and J-Lo have been doing those together. There's one where they were in a drive-through once. I think was like one of the last ones I've seen. So there's that.
And we know Tom Brady's not eating any donuts. That guy won't even have bread.
Right. I don't think he's human, to be honest with you.
No, he's not.
So going back into Valentine's Day, Matt, you were saying about giving the right plant food and then also giving the right amount of water to your business. What about the opposite effect? What about if there's unwanted weeds in your flower patch, how do you get rid of those?
Oh, you fire them.
Awesome, cut and dry, Mr. Donald Trump on here.
Yeah, you have a manual. But no, I mean, it's like running a business is, you at the end of the day, and this has changed so much over the generations, but everyone wants a happy-go-lucky workplace, and the business owners want a profitable workplace, and there's a happy median in between those two. But it starts with, you can't have a business if it's not making enough money. And so if you have someone basically that's not stepping in line and doing just simply what you're paying them to do, unfortunately, I mean, obviously there's legal requirements and such that you do need to protect the business and yourself and, move them on out. So you have to weed every once in a while. Not everything is going to turn into a gorgeous flower.
Gotcha. Awesome.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that is really good. Wow, Matt. Jeez.
Nice. Yeah, I get a little star on that one.
Way to show up for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I know. I hope she enjoys her roses.
Right. Next question, Matt, here. Can you trademark Valentine's Day?
Yes. Why? You tell me. You're going to take the con on this?
Well, I'm trying to think of what you could use other than, for the goods and services that you could provide. How can you trademark that, Matt?
Could you trademark Valentine's Day for a car? Not saying you'd want to, but could you? I think you could. Yeah. What else? I don't think you could trademark Valentine's Day for like an event, like a general holiday celebrated on the 14th of February every year. No. You're not gonna get that. But if you wanted to trademark like Valentine's Day for perhaps something that would not get a generic or a descriptive refusal, I think you could probably do it. It would have to be an arbitrary, right? Completely arbitrary, like a car. I don't know why. It'd be the worst trademark ever, but you could do it. Right now someone's probably gonna go out there and try to trademark Valentine's Day just to see. But,
after we put this podcast out, you see like 10 applications for Valentine's Day.
The hundreds of thousands of people after they watch this podcast. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Next question for you, Matt. How to protect your business like you protect your partner?
Ooh, boy. Is this a pro gun show or no? Like, what are you thinking? Alarm system, guns? Well, I mean, I guess
how do you safeguard your business more like?
How do you safeguard it? Well, I mean, how do you protect? No, I'm going to get there here for you. But, one of the things, we talk about, I'm going to twist yours a little bit. And just so we talk about feeding it, but then you also talk about nurturing it as well, right? And so so you have to nurture a plant. I don't exactly know what that means in reference to a plant. I think it means like you talk to the plant, and, I talk enough, law of averages means I'm probably gonna talk to a plant at some juncture, because whatever's around my house, I'm just gonna be talking to it. But if you're, I'm so glad that alarm went off right there. That means we probably have like 5 minutes left. It's gonna go off again because I just snoozed it. But you do have to nurture a plant. You have to nurture a relationship, right? We haven't talked enough about relationships, Jacob. And how do you nurture your relationship? You're a newlywed. How do you nurture things?
I'm glad you asked, Matt. So when I've asked also a lot of people that have been in relationships for a very long time, I've gathered one of the biggest
that hurts, by the way.
One of the biggest ones that they say that will help you with your relationship to also not only keep it for a long time, but also to just continue on a day-to-day basis, keep it very involved, which would be communication. I would say communication is number one. If you just let things go without actually discussing it, things that are bothering you, then it's going to eat you up inside. So if there is something that you do find it's either festering within you, or again, it could go towards business as well. If you find something that's festering or something that is bothering you, and it has been bothering you for a very long time, if you just let that eat you up inside, it's going to put a damper on your relationship, and it's going to hurt it it's going to hurt it a lot. So I would say if there is something that is going on in your life that you're not telling your partner, you need to tell them right away and have them work through with you. So I would say that's one biggest contribution to your relationship, is having a lot of open floor communication, so that those issues don't arise. And if you need to go seek some help for that communication, I'd go seek help for that communication, because like I said, again, it's one of the biggest pinnacles of a relationship, I think.
Like bad milk doesn't get better over time.
Yeah, exactly. I would start off there. And then going back to the business, I think communication with maybe even your employees or the managers that you have underneath of you, if there's something that's bothering you as an owner of a business, you shouldn't let that fester. You need to just nip that right in the butt right immediately, right, Matt?
Yeah, no, I mean, you make a brilliant point right there, which is, have your policies and then run the business according to the policy and communicate what those policies are. And again, without going into too much depth, if you don't run your business according to a policy, then you don't really have a business, and you don't know what, people just don't know what to do on a day-to-day basis. But when you have those policies, you hold people to those policies, make them fair, make them reasonable, but communicate them, as Jacob said, because again, communication, I think is a whole, because if you don't have good communication in relationships and in business, then you're going to have problems. And I think that's a great point that you just made. That's awesome. A good one. The other one, I would just dovetail on that if I could. And we're talking about the nurturing aspect, and sort of getting back to my thing about talking to the plants or whatever else happens to be around the house, my poor dog that's sitting over there. It's nurturing is you got to take care of your people too. There's an old expression, take care of your people and they'll take care of your customers. And I think that's a very true thing for a business. But once again, it's how do you protect your significant other? Well, you take care of them. And to your point, wrapping in your communications point, you need to be able to communicate with them, understand what their needs are, and then make sure that their needs are met within the context of the relationship, and or make sure that their needs as employees are met within the context of your business. So in a relationship, it could be secure. It could be financial. Usually it's financial security, obviously a little bit of excitement, a physical attraction, all that sort of stuff. In a business relationship, it's I somewhat enjoy my job, but you pay me decently well, if not extremely well. And it's, and you keep it sort of interesting and fresh, but then you listen and communicate back and forth with people. And I think that's very, very important. And that would be the nurturing, in my opinion, aspect of it. You got anything else on that one?
No, I think we hit that point across pretty well. Again, that goes hand in hand with your business, and also the whole Valentine's Day theme is communication in both aspects play a big, huge factor of having a successful business. If you never say anything, then everyone's just going to carry on like everyday life, just like with your partner, and they're not going to know that something's bothering them unless you say something about it and talk about it. And if they're just like with the business and your partner, if they truly love you and they truly are loyal to you, then they should have no problem communicating with you. Just like with your business, if your business managers are, very loyal and very in depth with the business, then they should have no problem taking, good communication and then also good feedback, is what I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone did say one thing, this morning in one of our morning meetings, and I don't want to mention his name just because I don't know if he said prove that or whatnot, but I said, what's the key to a good marriage or whatnot? And he just says, I just say yes, ma'am. That's it. And that's a good one too.
That does help out a lot, I will say. But just like in business, sometimes that goes hand in hand too with business is that you can't always say yes, ma'am, just yes, sir to everything. You gotta say no a few times to a certain couple of things. Because if you don't, you got to stand up for yourself as a business owner, just like you got to stand up for yourself as a husband too.
Set the expectation.
Exactly.
I may not be the best expert at where that expectation line should be, so I'll leave that more up to you.
Exactly. Matt, let's talk about the last point here that I have noticed these last couple of days with some customers that we've had. Office actions. Anybody listening that doesn't know what an office action is? The office action is when you file a trademark with the USPTO, the good friendly USPTO. They will sometimes give you what's called an office action. Even though it sounds scary, it's not always. It could be a good thing, meaning that your trademark got accepted, but there's some questions that they have. But also, they could give you a not so nice message, which is a 2D refusal, which means that they are likely confused. Your trademark is likely confused with another trademark that they have currently registered. So in that event, your trademark application is currently blocked. So what do you do about it? There's a few things you can do about it to try to get it to go through. But one thing that some of our customers, we try to mention to them is we also, nor anyone can guarantee your trademark getting through. It's really down to the examining attorney. But the thing I always say to our customers is it's not necessarily what you have at your disposal, it's who you hire to be able to take care of that action. Would you agree, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think one of the challenges of the very large organization like the Patent and Trademark Office, has consistently is maintaining consistency. They have, forgive me, I don't know the number anymore. I'm not that in step with it anymore, but, they have a lot when I was doing that, 350 or so trademark examining attorneys. And to make sure that each person, if you gave the exact same file, would come up with the exact same response, 100% of the time is almost a mathematical impossibility. But so they train them, but you're going to get different, responses all the time, or different, reactions. So they're doing their best to determine whether or not they should, accept or refuse a trademark. And back in the olden days, there was even a contract, basically it was a union contract that in large part sort of pushed them towards giving refusals more often than not. And I don't know if that's still out there or not. But one thing that trademark holders should do is they should at least give a response, a nice, well-reasoned response, either through an attorney or otherwise, to basically, to the office action, because you may get them through. We just, looked at one, recently, very famously, and I don't want to say the trademark because, Lord knows I, jinx it or whatnot, but in sitting around the office, we all sort of were just like, well, that's probably shouldn't have gotten through. That's, whatnot. And it actually got through and such. Now, I will say, I think they had restructured the office. There's a possibility it could get rejected just by virtue of the fact that there's a higher level now that, reviews all these things before they even get published and all that sort of stuff. But again, it's an interesting little thing, but, they do get refused, but it is absolutely worth doing a response out there, because I think a very high percentage actually get through those initial responses just because they really push giving those initial refusals just to sort of make sure that they keep the register as clean as possible, especially in these last, I want to say about 10 years, 5 to 10 years, where trademark filings have just gone bonkers. But again, we all know why that sort of happened. That was more Amazon than anything else. A lot of people would blame China, but it's really more the Amazon brand registry requires now you have a U.S. Patent and Trademark Office serial number. And surprise, surprise, the next year the filings at the Patent and Trademark Office went kaboom, and they said, and that was it. It was the Amazon thing. But in any event, what else do we got here on relationships?
Let me see. I think we have one more.
There's more hearing about relationship stuff.
What's that, Matt? Oh, well,
I just need relationship advice.
Let's see. How about let's see here. I think we went through pretty much.
You're going through your notes. You're like, no.
Oh, I got one.
Blankety blank now. Okay, go ahead.
Yep, I got one. Romance your employees like you romance your partner.
Ooh, that's a delicate one right there. But I think it's a great Valentine's Day topic, because years and years ago, when I first founded the company, it was me and a bunch of and I was in my late 30s, or I was in my 30s or whatever by the time I came out of my basement. And it was me and 10 young women. And it's like, you would come through one holiday, you'd be like, okay, we're gonna have a great Thanksgiving, we're gonna have a potluck supper, and then you'd come through Christmas, okay, boss is buying gifts and we're going out for a nice dinner. You come through Arbor Day, you give people little plants or something like that, whatever. You get to Valentine's Day and you're like, I'm gonna get all the women's roses in the office. And it's like, hold on a second. Yeah, wait a minute, back up the bus there. And I think so. How do you romance your employer? I think, to be candid with you, and I think again, this is probably more so. I would love to have a multi-generational panel on this, because we already have a multi-generational panel, because I've got you by at least 2 to 3 years, but
a little more than that.
I'm old enough to be your dad, but but so we've got 2 generations here. But if we layered in your grandparents' generation, my parents' generation, you would hear them say, the thanks for your job was your paycheck, and you would never be acknowledged other than that. You come into my generation liked being thanked with booze and happy hours. And, you know, and maybe like the occasional, like, you know, trip, you know, some seminar or something, which really was just an excuse for booze and happy hour away from the city in which you lived. Your generation really wants more, almost, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but the way you all been raised, it's almost more like a constant, like little, hey, we want something a little bit more like every day, like almost like, I'm trying to think like little sales, like we do sales contests, but sometimes they can get redundant. You know, just, but a lot more kudos. Whereas like, you know, I can remember working for the guy that was my parents' age, and he would tell me a good job every once in a while, but I certainly never got anything out of him other than a family. He paid me very well. He was a good man, and such, one of my first mentors, and such. So from a generational perspective, it's interesting to see how that's changed. To your question, like how do you show your love for your employees effectively and stuff? I think today, if you want to attract and keep top talent, there's two ways to do it. So it's sort of 1.5 ways to do it. Number one, pay them $1 million or a gajillion dollars each, right? Pay them 10 times more than what your competitor's paying them. Or number two, you need to build in place in structures, things that are fun, enjoyable, you know, in the company, and such. And I'm not saying you can ever underpay people and just because you have a fun workplace, because they'll still walk out the door on a fun workplace if they're not getting compensated. If someone else can compensate them more, they're going to walk out the door. But employees really do engage a lot more with, you know, again, like you would say, a little bit more romance, you know, obviously Title VII appropriate romance, but have those free lunches, have the happy hours, you know, do a corporate retreat, you know, have fun and games in the office in whatever way you figure it out. You can look at websites, there are tons of ways to do it, but I think you do have to romance your employees a little bit more, and now more so than ever. Just boring everyone else for one other thing. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, if you know what happened over COVID, one of the reasons why it's so easy to get a job now is because we had a massive generation decide to take early retirement over COVID. So we have, I can't remember what it is, but it's something like 10 million less workers in the workforce today than we did pre-COVID. And so that's why everyone's like scrambling for employees. And that is going to go on for about the next 20 years is what they're estimating. So if you're not getting down with the new system of trying to romance employees, you better start learning how to, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit harder to retain top talent. So romance them, right?
Give them the good old romance, rose petals and all.
That just sounded nice.
What would you going back to how we talked about flowers and putting water on them and plant food, and then also bringing out the good old what's it called, weed destroyer, as you mentioned, just fire them. What would you say the rose petals would be in this case scenario for your employees?
Rose petals in my, well, I know I actually used to. I mean, we used to, like, you know, birthday limos for lunch. You know, we would, you know, take out limo, you know, get a couple limos and take our people to lunch. I know, I'm sorry, that was prior to you joining up.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm looking forward to that.
I guess, yeah. Yes, I got to be careful. Oh, we didn't do anything. We did nothing. I gave him chewing gum, and, you know, 3 minutes of uninterrupted eye contact.
There you go.
But anyways, but I mean, you do little things like, again, like I can remember there was a time that an employee that had a 30th birthday coming up, and, you know, her boyfriend hadn't even asked her out to dinner. And I was just like, so I just quickly organized a really nice dinner down at Second Empire, which was, if anyone's not accustomed to the Raleigh area, it's, in my opinion, the best restaurant in Raleigh. And so I ended up taking her parents, I think her best friend, her brother's fiance, my wife at the time. And, you know, and that's the type of thing. And that employee was a fantastic employee for many, many years. And she stayed with me for over a decade, you know, because you do things like that. So yes, the dinner got a little bit out of hand because she ended up inviting a lot more people than I thought she was going to invite. But the investment was, I got, you know, an A+ employee for a decade, you know, and you doing little things like that. So what other little things can you do? I'm, you know, it's funny because it's the office lunches, the happy hours do almost get cliche after a while. But you just gotta do them, you know. And as we've talked, swag, hand out little things, fun stuff. What do you got? You got any suggestions? You know, you're asking me questions. I'm droning on here.
I would say The lunches are a big thing because it shows appreciation for your employees. Feeding them is a big thing. I know Matt is always, no matter what kind of company outings we ever go to, Matt is the king of just feeding everyone. So I would say feeding everyone is big. Also, just especially if you're in an office environment, working from home is a little different. But if you're definitely in an office environment, having like little games in the office too, man. I think you might have seen a couple. I've done some games where we had a little putt in the office, and if you beat me in putt, I'd get you a lunch for the next day or whatever. So have like little mini games in the office. Also, it could be also for theme related, Matt. We've had, if you remember Easter, we've done a Easter themed where I don't know, we didn't hide the Easter eggs around because that would have taken forever. But every time you got a sale, you got a Easter egg to open, and inside that Easter egg was some candy, or it could also have been $50 gift card, or I think it was also maybe, what was it, PTO a couple of days too.
Yeah, that was fun. We need to bring that back this year. That was a good one.
That was
a good one. That was this last year. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I filled 300 plastic eggs with stuff.
Did you keep them?
Yeah, they're in the office. I had to remember where they are. I think they're still in the office. I can remember sitting right over there on my couch, starting to fill them. And you know what it was? I remember doubling them up. You know what it was? No, I started filling them up, and I go, this is going to take me 6 hours to fill all these things. Because I you know me, I'm math. Like, it took me however many minutes to do like 10 of them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I calculated out quickly how many it's going to take to do 300 of them. And I'm like, no. I like you all. You know it. I've been, it's about like, I can't be sitting here for like 8.5 hours filling plastic eggs or whatever it was. So then I think I doubled the prizes, but then required like 2 sales for, whatever, for 1 egg or whatever it was. But I like that one. That was a good one. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me, because that's coming up.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I'll start the process on that when it comes up. Just closing it out, everyone. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. I hope everyone has a really great time with their loved ones. Again, unfortunately, the Super Bowl for me didn't turn out the way I wanted to, but what a great game that was. I will say, even though my team didn't win. That was a great game though, Matt. Just closing that out with that. Wasn't it such a great game, back and forth, wasn't it?
Yeah. But again, it was like Brady Part 2. Like, if Mr. Mahomes is in the game, how can you bet against the young man? Exactly. One of the greatest closers of all time, exactly. Already. And again, it's a great game. And NFL's thrilled because it was close. It wasn't one of those things. Again, you guys, when's the last time you guys had a Super Bowl? We had a Super Bowl. The world had a Super Bowl where it was a blowout. I can't remember.
I can't even remember one either. I think it was the Panthers and the Broncos. I think was a blowout. I think the Panthers even scored a point, if I remember. No,
I think they may have they either got a safety or 3 late. But yeah, Cam Newton spent the afternoon on his back because Von Miller just terrorized the poor man. Yeah. And we just couldn't block him. Sorry, I'm a Panthers fan. Cam Newton fan. I'm a Cam Newton fan up until he's been ripping on Purdy. But we've talked about that in the past, and I don't understand that at all. Have some respect, for the man.
At this point, you're a veteran. You should be, especially talking about somebody that's brand new. Like, he should know that, being that he led the Panthers, even though they didn't go to the Super Bowl right away. He led the Panthers to be a whole completely new team. When he first came.
Yeah, and Cam had a time. They wasted Cam's talents a little bit here in Carolina because they didn't put enough people around him in the later stages of his career. And I think they could have gotten back, but they didn't get it done. In reference to Purdy, by the way, just a little prop back. I know you like him, and I do too, because anyone who's like that much of an underdog, you got to root for him, right? But if I'm not mistaken, didn't Mahomes? They went ahead, and then Purdy drove them the length to actually kick the field goal to send it into overtime. That was the way it went, right? It was San Francisco sent it to overtime, not the other way around.
I can't remember. I thought it was. Anyways, I thought it was. Job. No. It was actually the Chiefs that did it, because the 49ers got a extra point blocked, which would have gave them technically the lead, and then the Chiefs tied it up. And if they made that extra point, they would have won the game.
Yeah, exactly. But still, Purdy did. I thought they all did a great job. I thought Joey Bosa got held on pretty much every single play. and they just never flagged it. But I mean, every time I watched it, I was just like, look, he's getting held again. Look, he's getting held again. Not a single holding call. But again, not trying to rip on the offensive lineman for the Chiefs. I mean, congratulations on their 3rd title in 5 years. Great job for them. It was a great, entertaining game. And, awesome. I got nothing bad to say about any of them. They're professionals just like all of us are, and they just get paid a lot of money to do what they do, but props out to them. Exactly. Back to you to close it out, sir.
Let's close her out. So again, like I said before, I hope everyone has a fantastic day with their loved ones. And please join us on the next Small Business Chat podcast with me and Matt. And also we might have a special guest here coming soon too, so look forward to that as well. Matt, anything for the folks?
Have a great Valentine's Day. See y'all.
Alrighty.